just tuning in, you're listening to Level Up Nation with myself, your host, Stacey Pruitt from the Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team, and of course, my co-host, Dustin Pritchard. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So today on our hot seat, we have one of my personal faves, Kathleen Black from the KBCC or Kathleen Black Coaching Consultation Systems. Kathleen, how's it going?
Great, it's going fantastic. I'm excited to be here. I didn't know I was on the hot seat. I like hot seats. That works for me.
Yeah, it's not just a fun on the temperature, but
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking to you about your best-selling book, The Top 1% Life. We're going to be talking about your breakout mastermind classes, how you've kind of coped during COVID, and also your summits that everybody loves going to, usually in the Muskokas.
Yes, I was this close to going last time too. One of your staff called me and says, "Hey, come on, grab a ticket." Yeah. And I was just, I was already pre-engaged, and I really wanted to go to Muskokas and come visit you. Some killer content up there. You guys have some pretty decent sessions.
Yeah, actually today would have been the start of the Ultimate 100 Deal Plus Mastermind last year. Literally today, I thought it was a couple of weeks ago. I got the Facebook memories, right? They remind you. So we did postpone that event, and we chose not to put it virtual this year with COVID, just because it is really a connection and community building event. Like we spend a lot of time together. Like we do dinners, lunch, breakfast, workouts, the whole deal. Like it's an intensive, but it's fantastic because you're getting literally 100 deal plus team leaders and their right hand, like director operations or director of sales. And then we open it up for rising stars to apply to come, which is great. So every year, every year it grows. So I think last year we had like 60, 65 applicants, and they tell us why we should consider them and their growth trajectory and their goals. It's really fun. So we always have anywhere from 2 to 4. Like sometimes I have a hard time picking, so I kind of get a soft spot for more, and we have 4. But yeah, it's really great because I think, the top 1% or the top producers really see the business quite differently. It's almost as if they speak a different language when it comes to real estate, right?
Very different language, completely different.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I just want to segue into that actually, because your book, The Top 1% Life, there was a quote that really kind of resonated with myself personally. You had said, the point is to drive yourself first, that leadership is all about leading yourself first. Because we spend so much time as entrepreneurs trying to lead others, and the world is our business, and we're better off humans that lead themselves one glass castle shattered at a time. I just thought that was a really interesting quote. What inspired you to kind of put that out there?
Well, I think it's, the beauty of team is that it mirrors you. Like teams, I always say, are the ultimate personal development journey or adventure, because you will face what's great about you. You will face what is limited, what's holding you back. You'll face like even pain from when you're younger, right? Because you'll have things that you believe and it'll play out. So like teams are a huge gift for that. But what I find is most of the conversations are so focused on how do you get other people to do things, and how do you lead, and how do you manage? Just like, how do you do any of that if you can't lead yourself? Like the journey is your internal for leaders first. And then by example, if you can help people to then lead themselves, that's when we move from conscious to collective. But until we go to that place, it's always just the aggression that in my opinion, we have too much of in real estate. We don't need more of like the aggressive, like big ego, top down mentality. So I'm not a big believer in that. No, I don't think.
No more of that.
I could be wrong, right?
But and not to like be punny about this, but I think the mentality and the aggressiveness is actually where that kind of stems from. Like real estate has always been predominantly a boys club, and nothing against the dudes out there.
Hey.
I know, I'm sorry.
Hey.
But I just think it's really refreshing to see a female that's killing it and dominating it in this market. And not to say that you're not a brilliant individual and that gender has no play in this, but the fact that you are a female and that you're able to do this, I think is really incredible.
Awesome. I think it's interesting, right? Because I mean, maybe earlier on, real estate was really male dominated, but the reality is our sales force is not predominantly, but it's more female than it is male, right? But yet you look still at brokerage ownership, you look at thought leadership, and that is not. Like, that is definitely still a male dominated voice. And I mean, I don't know if it's a male energetically dominated voice anymore, like the aggressive side of it, but I think definitely gender wise it is for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna bring it back because I love the quote that you gave, and I also share in this philosophy. Like, if building a team for the wrong reasons, or accidentally falling into a team and things like that. Like, these are some of the biggest problems that teams have in real estate across the board. And one of the reasons why I personally believe why they're incredibly, in some cases, very not profitable. Architecting a business around the life that you want to live, about the values that you hold, and about the value you're able to deliver to your team, that it's got to come from inside first before you can actually make promises and build a brand promise around what you want to deliver to people. And I love that quote. And I was started reading a little bit of the 1% Life. I downloaded. I'm definitely going to read it. Probably going to plow through it tonight, actually. But I can tell that you share in that philosophy.
Yeah, and I think the glass houses thing is basically like taking, you know, we always say taking your power back, but what does that mean? Like, it means saying, hey, I'm going to decide who I am. So you don't get to tell me like what type of business leader, what type of mother, what type of a woman to be. Like, that's not in your ability. Like, you don't get to come in those boundaries. So a glass house is basically letting other people decide or criticize or have our ear. And like, that's the idea. I'm going to break it down and decide, lead for myself. I don't need your approval. And I think it's really important that as business leaders, we get in tune with that. Like, we get strong internally, because sometimes, you know, I think even with team, like the reality of, you know, I was just speaking at the Buzz conference, right? So I got really excited because I did this new graph. And anyway, for me, my world has been fully team for a long time now. But I think the realities of what's going on behind the scenes with teams are going to really knock some people sideways when it comes forward, because as much as we've seen them expanding, I think people really don't get how they operate and how positively disruptive they actually are. But to people who are complacent, they're not positively disruptive, right? So
No.
it's an interesting time.
I also think that the team is the new, like, in terms of retailers, if you look at trending historically, it used to be the independent retailer. It used to be your local neighbor, someone who identified with the community, very similar to a real estate agent. And then all these big box stores came in because they were able to offer more volume. They were able to offer more service by kind of combining everything. And that's what I think the team shift is. Because as an agent on a team, you're able to divide and conquer and really, really kind of catapult everybody's strengths. So you're not crossing streams. You're able to set up systems. And once there is a system in place, you're able to do way more volume than you would as an individual. It's, you know, that age-old saying, together or divided, we conquer. I need my team.
Break out into song. That's when you break out into song.
So it's basically what I'm trying to say. I was trying to like hand it over to my team member, but thanks for not picking up what I'm putting down.
Catch the ball. The ball.
Please do. No, I was just, the saying that I'm going for is basically, you know, if you stand alone, you know, you have no one to catch you. But if you're with a team, then you can conquer all. So,
yeah, a good team.
Well, that's the difference. That's obviously for people that are in the team space. Having it's important to choose the right team, the right alignment, the right kind of support for what you want for your business and stuff too. But one of the things that I do like about your system, Kathleen, because I've actually been part of your system before. One of the things is you're a big fan of roles, and you create roles around personalities and skill sets, so that as you're growing your team, as the team leader, you're not like an octopus with everything all over the place. You are you're able to manage basically people that are filling a role, doing a job, and if they decide to level up and leave your team, or maybe you decide that you need to expand or do whatever or make some changes, the role can be easily managed and changed.
Yeah, it's like the team is the production, right? We're not the lead actor or actress. We're in charge of making sure we have the production down. And I think it's empowering people too. You know, like I look to my own business and I kind of go like, if I'm micromanaging everybody and I'm kind of going, why do I have to be in everything? It's like, if I don't empower people to do what's great at them. And like the way I say it is, I'm like, you're marketing, it's as if we had a separate business that was marketing and you run that business. I don't run that business, right? Like, and joking, but not really. Like literally this is how we do it. It's like you run operations. So my job is to have the strategy and look at the numbers and to tweak where needed, but my job isn't to hold and run it. And I think people really confuse that. It's like, well, no, it's my team and I should be managed. I should do that. It's like, you want to have the systems and set them up, and then you want to manage the systems and less management of the people. Like we're saying the same thing, but I hope.
Delegate and elevate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to tap on into as well, for anyone who is listening, we are talking to Kathleen Black. And one of the things that I really like about your system is it's very, very concise. So you guys actually get people to take personality tests. Mm-hmm. You get people to ask friends, family, coworkers, the identifiers that stick out the most. And then you're able to piece teams together based on these personality analysis. I think one of the things that was really interesting is you're able to take a toxic team or a team where one person is doing 60 hours of work versus other people who are doing 15 hours of work. And you're able to really take that team and build something where everybody has a part and everybody's working the same amount of hours for the same goal. And I think that was really interesting to see, because there's a lot of people who are saying, you know, I've tried a team and it doesn't work, or I'm the one that's always doing all the work, or, you know what I mean, I can't rely on anybody. And I really think that it's interesting that your system really weeds those toxic people out. How did you come up with that?
Well, I think our flow is always to get to know ourselves. Then I can see genius in others, and then I can partner with that genius, right? So training myself to be able to see what I'm great at so I can see it in other people. But I think it's also, you know, I mean, I don't do consult calls anymore, right? But I used to for years. Like I've done hundreds of them, and I've done maybe even more than hundreds, but of exit calls when people leave as well. And sometimes, you know, it is very simplistic, but you do get what you believe. Like when somebody said, like I posted the other day on my wall just to kind of see the response, and my team was worried. They're like, did somebody do something? I was like, no. Like if you think you're too special to talk to my team, it'll be next to impossible for you to build a healthy one of your own. Because like it makes me laugh when people are, no, Kathleen, why are you trying to have me book with somebody else? It's like, okay, I already know your limiting beliefs. Like I already know what's going on. And then you can't talk to them. Like my team most of the coaches on our team are superstars. They could all have their own company. I'm so grateful to work with them. They don't work for me, they work with me. So there's these mentalities of no one can do it better, but it comes from this deep, like for most of us, I'm not a psychologist officially, but it comes from this deep-seated insecurity, right? That I can't be enough. So I become this overachiever, but then I mirror it on everyone else. Now you can't be enough. And now I can't trust anybody. And it's like, it's never ending. And that's why I say teams are, if you're willing to flow through what's holding you back, it's a great experience.
No, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Lucia and Kevin on your team, because it's funny when you're talking about hiring these people that mirror your personality. I think Lucia is very much like you as well, but she gives that tough mom love where she's like, no, I'm holding you accountable. Here's your checklist. This is what you need to do. Yeah. And she's a very no nonsense type of lady, but when you get to know her, you know that she has a huge heart and she really cares about your final outcome. Whereas Kevin is awesome. If you're feeling low and you need a pick me up and you need inspiration and you need someone to like light that fire under your ass, Kevin's your go-to. So I think he's really great at, you know, pumping tires and making you feel like you can do things, which is neat because it's always a reflection of who you are, I think, is who you attract, right?
Yeah, and it's an interesting story with Kevin, because again, with the production, he doesn't actually coach with us any longer, but it's an amazing story because he had pretty much left real estate. Like he was literally in another sales career, didn't want to be in real estate, total bad taste in his mouth about it, came back into coaching, went into personal development because that's part of our coaching, started to help other people because he had a very successful team. Like he has a massive experience there, and got excited, got back into it. And now he's rebuilt his team and doing extremely well. Right. But that's just part, like, I think when you power people up, they go where they need to go. And even for my business, I can't be a hypocrite. Like some people will come in and they're meant to stay and some people are not. And that's okay. Like, I don't think we can get stuck on only build a team if everyone stays. And if some people leave, it's a bad team. Well, you know, is that healthy? Not really. And it's not really true either.
Nor is it realistic.
No.
Any team leader that has ever run a team, or at least run a team for a little while, knows that you're going to have attrition. You have good attrition. You have bad attrition, but you've got attrition, and it's just a day in the life of a team leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Dustin, I know you're a huge believer in making people replaceable, because when you make them replaceable, that means they're promotable. So I think that's...
I'm talking about yourself. I'm talking about me, right? Yeah. And when I say that, not replacing other people, but 100%. My philosophy is if you are replaceable, then you're promotable. If you can duplicate yourself and you can help somebody else achieve the level of success that you've achieved, then that allows you the freedom and the flexibility in your business to be able to take yourself to the next level. And again, that's the micromanaging kind of thing. If you're focused on micromanaging and projecting your insecurities on others, then your team is just going to malfunction all the time. And it's never going to give you the lifestyle, the leverage that you're looking for. But if you replace yourself and you attract amazing people like Stacy and other people on our team, you know, you're able to take your business to the next level, your personal self, your professional life to the next level as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say, if you can transfer knowledge, you can climb new mountains. And I'm like, I want to climb new mountains. I don't want to keep doing the same hike, right?
That's right.
And you actually do hike, which is funny because you're literally talking about that. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is your mastermind classes. You have been promoting those online. For anyone who's listening, do you want to give us a little bit more insight to what these offer and where people could, you know, look them up?
Yeah, we're switching back over to team, because during COVID, we actually did 10 weeks of masterminds every single day at 1 o'clock for 90 minutes. So from my time during COVID in our team, I think we're at like 400 hours that we invest, like just because we could, right? Like I'd rather do something and lean in and support than sit back and do nothing. Like I'm a big believer in momentum and opportunities, and you create your own opportunities. So that was a big part of it. But also I was personally concerned with the mentality. Like there was so much fear, and we wanted to bring people together so that we could move. I think it's easy to think that when people are scared, you tell them do these 3 things or do this one thing or call your database. But when people are scared, all they see is fear, and fear is overwhelming. And it's because they're focusing on things they can't change. So our whole goal was, let's move people out of fear and just kind of loosen it up a little bit. Then they'll start to take action anyway, which was great. So we did a lot of like energy healing and envision work. And I went way into the other side of my life to bring some support there, which was fantastic for me too. It was a total gift, but we're moving it more into team topics again. So online masterminds, things like that. So always with us on social media, or if people are part of our email, like we send out an article or a mastermind almost every single day. And it's not selling, like it's literally, how do you do your CRM? Or here's a mastermind we did, here's a recording. Like we have so much content just to support. So I find if people really want to lean in and make changes, there's no shortage of content. I think just the reality is on the team level, the level that is possible is not popular with the majority of people, right? They don't really, they're like, it's great, but I really want it, like, you know, even to the point where he's talking about, like, we have teams where literally they're 7 times, like their conversion 7 times higher, their profit 16% higher than the average team, but nobody wants to talk about it. So it's like, you've got these mega teams that have these huge edges, and we know what's happening because we work with them to set up these models, right? Like we set up the systems, but the rest of people are like, no, you just do it like this. And it's like, okay, but your person across the hall is literally selling less homes than you and making exceptionally more money. Like if you're okay with that, and they're reinvesting to give opportunities to their agents that you don't have the money to do. So like, how long do you think they're going to be under? So I don't know, like I'm a big believer money can do great for our communities. And we have a lot of team leaders who donate and give back in phenomenal ways. So, you know, I think if you want to do great things with money, you got to pay attention to how you organize it.
Yeah.
But that's not a popular comment. Just so you know, it won't get you good ratings.
No. And you have to spend money to
it's
make
so
money.
true, though. It's so true.
It's not
you make
popular.
more so you can give more. You make more, give more, right? Why not? Abundance is all it's out there, right? It's like grains of sand on the beach. There's so much money out there. You might as well just grab your bucket and go.
Absolutely. Freaking
Absolutely.
For any real estate
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Dustin. I just have one quick question. Kathleen, for any real estate agent who's listening out there, or even an entrepreneur, because I find these formulas kind of intermingle. What are 3 things that you would say for anyone who's looking to level up their game? Someone who's maybe made 6 figures, but saw a dip with COVID. What are 3 things that you would suggest? Aside from downloading your Living the Top 1% Life.
Read
or
the book.
work your list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, like hesitating from communicating though, like even now, I mean, we're 13 weeks after, and I still talk to people like I'm still scared to call my database, like and we're seeing some of the thought leaders, and I know why they're saying, hey, in the next 60 to 90 days is going to make your year. The honest truth is the last 60 to 90 days made your year. That's right. Not going to get as many people on the mastermind, right? It's like, it's already done. I'm not coming.
You still got time. Sign up for the mastermind.
I think it's, any team that we've helped scale very quickly, or individual agent, because they started as individual agents. They didn't start as teams. So people are like, oh, that's a team though. And I don't want to be a team, but they literally, if you really want to do it well, they all invested in what works. They didn't figure it out on their own, not even close. Like a lot of the big teams who I'm looking, it's like, I started with them when they were on their own. We hired them in, we created compensation, we got contracts, we recruited, like we did all of that step by step. Like it wasn't an accident. It was extremely intentional and strategic, and they invested in what works. And I think people think everything in real estate to help realtors is a sales pitch. And that's really hard for me, because when you look at all the top 1% earners, they're all in coaching and they've all heavily invested in coaching. But you go online, and I get it, because there's so much being thrown at realtors. And I think it's only going to get worse, to be honest, because everybody's a thought leader now, regardless if they have experience or not, right?
And they've had 3 months to practice their Facebook Lives.
Well, yeah. And I think everybody's got to start somewhere, and you've got to be messy as you start, but it's hard to watch when it's like you're getting somebody setting up all their processes and plans with someone who's only ever worked with a 50 deal a year team, and like they're going to keep capping out, right? So I think it's invest in what works. Like that's number 1. Number 2, get clarity on what you want and what you're willing to suffer to get there, because the truth is you are going to suffer something. And they say it all the time, right? Like, oh, you see all these people really successful, but you don't know what they did to get there. And it's like, it's even when you do it well and efficiently, it is still a struggle. Like I'm a single parent, right? Like I talk to people all the time who are like, Kathleen, I don't have the time, or I have COVID, or I have this. And I never say anything to them. I never say a single thing to them. But in my head, I remember, I go, if you thought the way they thought, you will never be able to bring your gifts to this world. So always remember that, because that's what's holding them back. And it's not for me to go like, hey, what are you doing? Why are you making all these excuses? It's for me to listen and help them move towards strategy. But the truth is, it's a mindset. Like you can look for what you can create. And 10 years ago, could I create what I could now? No, not even close. I didn't have money. I didn't have resources. Like I didn't have any of that stuff. So I had to work with what I had, but I think it's a choice, right? Work with what we have or get stuck essentially. So I think leverage it. Yeah. Leverage it. So like the first is to invest in what works. The second is you need to get really strong. Like I always say, you have to be able to stand in a storm and not get pushed over easily. That's extremely important if you want to be able to build back up. If they're a 6-figure earner, I mean, to me, honestly, I get really clear. The last one, because I have to pick 3, is I'd get really clear about net versus GCI. Like a lot of 6-figure earners are spending a lot of money to try to invest to build their business, and they're not making what they think they are. And some of them would make phenomenally more on a team in less time. Some are drivers and should make a team, right? Like not everybody's meant to be on a team or build a team. Like you have your spot. But that would probably be the one, because some people are like, well, I'll make more on my own, but it's like, but you're working triple the time. Like, what are you really making? Like, I didn't have that option, right? With kids, I couldn't work triple the time.
No, and that is so incredibly important. GCI can be such a vanity metric, such a ego. Yeah, builds your ego. It's like, oh, I did this, I did that, but what did you profit from it, right? Did you spend most of that to get your ads done, or did you, are you actually making a profit? Because I was talking to a team leader a couple of weeks ago, and he's got he does over 150 deals a year, and he's still going out there in the field just to pay his bills.
And that's very common.
Just to pay his office bills, not his personal bills, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's all what you want, right? Like, that was the whole thing. Like, it's the time, it's money, but it's also leverage, it's support, it's opportunities. Like, I think, it's custom for everybody, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Kathleen, thank you so much. We're kind of running short on time for this episode. Dustin, it's time for your final thoughts. Are you ready?
I am absolutely. You know what, I've said this a few times on our episodes, and I'm going to say it again because we have the perfect example right in front of us. Yes, you are a perfect example. You are who your friends are. You need to tap into knowledge and into wisdom and experiences that you don't have. If you want to go from here and you want to get here, that gap, that bridge is filled with knowledge and experience and other people. It's not something that you can do in a bubble. So reach out to Kathleen. She's a monster in this industry and really, really talented. Her entire team can definitely help you as an individual agent or as a team, especially as a team. And I love teams. Teams are my thing. I love that. So definitely going to be digesting your book tonight. That's for sure.
Oh, awesome. Let me know what you think. Thank you.
Well.
All right, guys. There you have it from the coaching diva herself, Kathleen Black. If you've just been tuning in, you've been listening to Level Up Nation with myself, Stacey Preer, Dustin Pritchard, and our special guest, Kathleen Black. If you want to learn more about Kathleen, we'll have all of her information in the links below. And if you have any questions or comments, please hit us up. We're always dying to answer your questions. And Dustin, what is our new website address that people can tune in and binge our episodes?
All right, www.levelupnationlive.com. That's www.levelup. I'm just joking. It's levelupnation.com. Levelupnationlive.com.
There you go. He said it 3 times.
There you go. 3 times.
Awesome. Thanks again, Kathleen, and to everyone else out there listening. We'll see you next time.
All right. Ciao for now.